guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to part 4, 1973 Kool Orange World Voyageur. Today's the day, guys, we will get it done. He's got to put on the decals, do the build, get the wheels on it, they're all ready to go. Bearings overhauled, chrome polished, you're good to go. Got the chain ready. Let's get started. Alright, so we got the decals on all the stays, and then these are next, but it came out pretty good. Did the fork a while back, so that one has been done for a while, but that came out pretty good. No air bubbles. Should let it dry for a day or so, they say, just in case you happen to handle it when you start putting on the other components. Dry, I'll do the decal on the down tube, and then the decal that goes here, and then the other one there. So got them all right here. And there's the 4130 decal. This real heavy gauge sticker, it's a peel off, and you got to make sure that you center it right off the bat, because you don't want to try to peel it off, because you could actually take some paint off. All right, so the world decal is on. Went on nice and straight, no bubbles. So the last one I got to do now is the one right here. So I went ahead and taped this up, because that decal is going to go right between those two spaces right there. So right now I got my timer. I'm going to turn on here in a second. Warm water in there. I'm going to put them in there for about 45 seconds, and then take them out and let them sit for about 4 minutes, and then walk over here and carefully slide them off the backing onto the tube, and then move it around till it's placed where I want it. So it'll curl up a little bit, which is normal. Give it about 45 seconds to a minute at the most, then take it out and let it sit for about 4 minutes. All right, well, I took it out and I'm gonna let it sit for 4 minutes. So I just keep my eye on the timer there, and then I'll slide it right onto the tube. I had the bike straight up. I think laying it down might be better. That way I can put the decal on it and then just pull the paper from underneath it. Because before I had to leverage, making sure that it stayed in line. So I think this might be better. So we'll see how that works. So yeah, laying it down made a big difference. So what I did was, once I took it out after the recommended time, I just laid it where it should go, and then peeled the first part of it off. And then by laying down like that, I was able just to pull that paper backing off, and it slid on there perfectly. All right, the other side is done. I went ahead and flipped it over, and just made sure that it wasn't touching the other side. And if you notice, I put a mirror back here so I could see exactly where the other decal ended. Even though I had the markings, I wanted to make sure that those letters lined up. All right, she's back on the rack. Now I can go ahead and continue the build. So we'll go ahead and start with the rear derailleur cable. Put that in there just to have it ready. But that cable's gonna go through here, and then through this cable here, and all the way to the fingertip shifter. So I went ahead and got the best parts I could on here. I bought an extra set for my blue bike. That one, if you remember, had a black one, so I needed to replace it. And you can only buy these in sets, from what I could find anyway. But that particular set had really clean casings on it, so I put those on it. Same with that one. So that's gonna look nice. Here's the original ones that was on it. As you can see, this one's pretty beat up. Once they get scraped up, you really can't do much about it. So here's the Schwinn-Approved derailleur inner wire. They come in 2 lengths. You can use a 65-inch for your front, and then that one's for the rear. Especially with the fingertip shifters, you almost need that extra length to get it all the way around. So okay, so these have several pieces to them, and the way it goes together is, this is the main part right here. See, there's a little groove right there. There's a bottom part here with a hole in it. See how that's got that shape, matches that shape? So that actually is what expands. This is where you have your Allen wrench fitting. So that's what does that. So this goes in like that. Bring it in like that. See? So that's how you start. That's the starting point. that would go inside the tube like this, and you go ahead and tighten it. And it's counterclockwise. And you tighten it pretty good so that way you keep it in there. Then the shifter part, see there's a little groove right here, matches that groove there. And one thing to understand is that these things actually are the same. Both sides are the exact same piece, so there's no left or right. They both look the same. The only thing that you'll notice is that one will face the outside of the bike, like on the other side, and one will get the black side. So there's that nut that needs to be faced. Put that in there. Tighten it up a little bit. And then the other one, then you just go ahead and tighten that one a little bit too, and you're good to go. Again, your cable goes through there. So again, this barrel head is what you need to get. That's a nice fit right there. All right, so I ran the cable through all the slots. Went ahead and put a little bit of grease right in that little area there, as well as where the cable is hidden. And when you start, you want to put this on the down position. So that means that the derailleur will be over the smallest chain ring. So you want to start right there before you tighten your cable. All right, went ahead and tightened it up first and see how it works. And there's that motion. So there's at the bottom position. And then when you ratchet up, goes right over that one. So that one's good to go. And then you just trim it out and put that ferrule on it. All right, so the rear one is on. Got it on there just tight enough, almost like a guitar string. And it goes all the way through there. And again, this is at the bottom. And you want to make sure that this is at the smallest gear. And I put the wheel on it and it fits right over it perfectly. So now we'll go ahead and test it, make sure it's switching gears. And there it is, working perfectly. So let's go ahead and put the wheel on it, chain, and make sure that it's shifting properly. Wheel spinning really true. I had done these already, but after I took off the old tires, I wanted to check them again. Because a lot of times, you know, the tire makes a difference in how it trues up. But this is right up on the rim, and it's spinning pretty free. So that's good. So you just kind of gave it one last polish. This is a cool new tool I got last year, and it's the WH1 from Park Tool. You can just either bolt it to your countertop, or do what I do, just put a vise so you can move it wherever you want. But it's an awesome tool that allows you to basically mount your tire polish. And so rear tire is done. Yeah, this thing was great to mount this with. A little expensive for what it is, but it definitely does the job. All right, so I'm going to take that tire off, true that rim as well, make sure it's good, and do one last polish as well before I put the new gum walls on it. All right, and the front one is ready as well. I went ahead and redid the hub. It felt weird. It felt like it was a little sticky, so I took it apart to make sure everything was good, and I just re-greased it and repacked it, and now it's spinning beautifully. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the tire next on this one. All right, the rear one is on. And one thing I forgot to mention was that, see that red high pressure label? I always put it on the drive side of the bike, and I always put it right where the valve is. So that way, if you do get a nail, you'll be able to determine where it is in reference to the rim. Now here's the front tire, getting ready to get this one done. And first thing I do, I actually mount the tire around the perimeter on one side of the bead, and then I tuck in the valve and secure it, and then tuck it in around the perimeter without any air, and then I'll put a little bit of air in it just to make sure it fills up in there properly, and then I'll let some air out, and then I'll go ahead and get that second side of the bead mounted properly. All right, and the front one's on. Putting out pretty easily. I did have to get some new skewers for both front and back, and these are pretty close to the originals. Here's the original ones. The front one actually was not in bad shape, but the rear was pretty bad, as you can see. They weren't closing tightly, I noticed when I was using them. And I was able to find these that are very similar. So I'll get the brakes ready. I already have the outer and inner cables ready to install, so that should go pretty quickly. And then we'll go ahead and do some adjustments. So we'll go ahead and do the chain next. This has got the perfect tension. I cleaned up the chain a while back, and then I stored it in this little Loctite baggie, and I put some of that chain oil in it to keep it from getting rusty, so it should be ready to go. All right, so I actually looped the chain on this first pulley because it's going to go back around this way like that. Now you should put it on the smallest gear and then go right through here. I'm going to drop it off right on that smaller chain ring. There we go. And then I use this little homemade tool, paper clip. Works out great to basically just secure the chain where you want it, and then you can go ahead and pin it down. And then I go ahead and adjust it so these two will basically just come together just like that. And then you can go ahead and just use your tool to push it through. And then once you secure your tool, make sure it's seated properly. Then you can go ahead and start turning it. There we go. And make sure it's nice and straight. If you feel like it's not going in smoothly, that means it's crooked. So make sure that it's nice and straight. You can see how it's going in real easy. And then you just push it so it's flush. I'll do some adjusting here in a second. I'm going to go ahead and put the pedals on it. But it seems to be pretty quiet. And here's the pedals. These are the ones that came with the bike. They're very lightweight. They're very similar to the ones on my Paramount, which are the Campanello first generation titanium pedals. Super lightweight, and they are spinning great, so they're in great shape. They came with toe clips, and then I bought the Christoph straps for it. After further research, I noticed that a lot of the World Voyageurs came with these pedals right here. These are the KKT rattrap pedals. They're a little heavy. I might go ahead and put these on because they are period correct to the bike, and just kind of clean them up. So I'm going to go ahead and see how they clean up and rebuild the bearings and everything on them as well. All right, so after taking a walk and thinking about it, I decided to go ahead and redo the pedals. Well, right now this thing is hardly spinning. It's pretty bad condition. I went ahead and straightened it out too. It was bent right there, and I put it on this vice grip, and these things are awesome for straightening stuff. Took off the cap. The cap was pretty rusty on there, so I used a little bit of WD-40 to loosen them up. This one is still getting loose. I think I'll be able to touch that up to make it look a little better than that. So I decided to go ahead and do the period correct pedals. Even though they're a little heavier, I think it'll basically just make the bike look more complete. So here they are, and again, they're the original ones that came on these bikes. For the most part, is what I see on all examples and images I see on YouTube and everywhere else. And right now the problem with this one is that it's not spinning freely. Those bearings need definitely work. You see how grimy it is in there. I used a little WD-40 to remove these screws. These ones are still soaking, because when I tried it and it was just stuck on there. As you can see, they have quite a bit of rust, but I'll be able to clean them up. I'll use my handy rust remover agents that I use and polish them up, and they should look good. So I think I'm gonna go with these after all. So I went ahead and took them apart. This is the one that's in worse shape, so you can see that rust throughout there. But it looks like these came with 10 bearings on each side. The spindle's a little bit rusty, so I'll definitely be able to get rid of that as well. There's the caps that one cleaned up already really good. I'll be polishing it to make it look better. And that one I got a little bit of rust dissolver on it to get that initial rust off of it, and it should look a lot better. These take the 532 bearings. I have a baggie of those, so I'll be able to replace, put brand new ones in it. And that should do it. So this is the stuff that I use. Naval jelly rust dissolver, Loctite. I used to use a little brush and I coated it big time because this thing was in bad shape. So straighten out the pedal as well. And now it's just a matter of letting it sit there for a while. And then when I clean it off, it should come out much better. All right, so I just put those pedals on for now so we can go ahead and test the gears, make sure they're working. Try the front. Get the cables on this thing. I used to put the brake cables. They've already been pre-cut. The actual original ones that came with the bike, they're in really good shape. So all I have to do is just double check the inner wire and change that. But the outer cable is perfect, so. All right, so I got the brake cables ready to be tightened. I went ahead and got my setup using that clamp. And that's a good height right there for those loops. And again, these cables are just like the Continentals, Super Sports, Sports Tour, Le Tours. Any bikes that has this kind of setup will have the cables done this way. If you notice, the fret cable goes around the back of the handlebar and drops right down onto that brake hanger. And then this cable here goes on the front of the handlebar, underneath, and through that first cable stop right there. And then of course it goes all the way down. Got that short little loop and onto the back here. These are ready to go. I got them all cleaned, looking a lot better. I have some parts in the evaporust, trying to get that rust off those nuts and bolts. And those really clean up nice. I'm really happy with how they came out. I got these things sitting here overnight as well. The spindles, those will clean up nice. And then tomorrow I'll build them and they should come out really sweet. Okay, so the pedals are ready. Everything's been cleaned and polished. Check this out. These still came out kind of black and tarnished. So I went ahead and just gave them a little coat. I sanded them down a little bit, put some primer, and then I put that coat of that metallic finish, and they come out looking pretty cool. So they'll look nice on those caps. But all the hardware cleaned up nice. I went ahead and put a little bit of grease on these so they don't oxidate while they wait. And that rust came off of them nicely. And caps, new bearings. So I'll go ahead and put these together and they should be spinning nicely. All right, well that one's done. And I did a video already on how to put these together, so they don't really want to take extra time. But here's one that I'm about to finish. Again, I start usually on the back. So I usually grease up this end first, put a lot of grease on the races, put the bearings, then put the spindle through, and then it ends up like this. Then I grease the race in that position, and then put in the bearings in there. And then just even them out, and then go ahead and do the cone, the key washer, and the lock nut. And the cap is last. And make sure that they're not too tight, but there's no play as well. So it's kind of a combination of making sure that they spin freely, but they're not too tight. And there's no play, and they spin great. So I'll go ahead and put the caps on it. Those are just about dry. All right, front brakes are on. Everything looks nice and tight. That's where I want it. Very little clearance. You gotta cut that cable. And there's the pedals complete. Came out good. I'll put the toe clips. I have some now, but they were a little beat up. And I hate to put old ones on when I can just get some new ones for a little bit of money and they look a lot better. But I think that they definitely make the bike look more authentic. So that came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the result. The other ones were definitely much lighter, but I think I like the chrome and the reflector on it, really dressed it up. So overall, the bike is pretty much done. He's gonna tighten everything, put it down. I need to get a stand for it because the kickstand is not on the bike anymore. Those kickstands are kind of bulky. It definitely looks a lot better without it. So came out pretty good. Pretty happy with the result. It took forever. Took it down and put air in it. Make sure it was up to speed on the air. Tighten everything. Because when I first put these together, I kind of assemble them and then I tighten them as I go along. Yeah, it came out just like I expected. Those loops are perfect. So that came out pretty sweet. Last thing I need to do is just get those clips, those pedals. Got the straps already. And when I first started this project, it was going to be just a mild touch-up and move forward, and it turned into a major project. But it was worth it. That paint really came out nice. This is an exact replica of the Kool Orange Schwinn color. It's pretty sweet. So I will go ahead and take this outside tomorrow and take some shots. But he's got a nice stance on it. So that's one of my favorite things. Seeing a workbench with no parts on it. So that's always a good sign. That means that your project is done. And here it is, guys. After several months of delays and tweaking stuff out, she's finally done. So I'm very happy with the results. I'm gonna take it outside so I can get some better angles because I'm really cramped in here. I'll give you a little tour of what's going on here in my garage. So again, this is a 1973 World Voyageur, and it's another one that's gonna add to my road bike collection. As you guys saw in my last video where I had 6 road bikes that included the Varsity, Continental, Super Sport, Le Tour, Sports Tour, and the Paramount. I needed a few more to add to that collection, so I got them right here. So this is a sneak preview of projects to come, guys. So check this out. You'll be the first to see it. This is a Superior flamboyant green. Check out that color. And I'm gonna do a video on how great he packed this. This guy has a big collection of his own, and he definitely takes care of them, knows how to pack them. And then thanks to Tim, he's able to get my other buddy Mike from Texas sell me the Volare. So this is the scarlet color, and this thing's in mint condition. You guys should see the pictures. And so these are my next 2 that I'll be pulling out for you guys to enjoy. So a lot of fun stuff, and again, there's tons of other projects that are gonna have to wait. Let's go ahead and take her outside and see how she looks. But anyway, here it is. These sure look nice outdoors. Yeah, this Kool Orange definitely has a beautiful luster to it. Some kids. I know they're gonna step on it. Alright, so I guess to recap the project, it started as a pretty clean bike overall. Had a lot of chips and dings, mostly original parts. I did replace the saddle. It had just like a basic Schwinn saddle, so I went ahead and put the Brooks Pretty Correct one in it. I also added the correct pedals to it as well. Had some nice ones on there, but these I think make the bike look more original. Those are nice. But it had all the original everything, including the crane derailleur, the front derailleur, as well as the crank set. Had the right brakes, original bar tape. And then I did rebuild these brake levers by keeping the original casings, and then I got original or new hardware for it to make it shine. I was able to find the really hard to find lighter gray cable. Come those skateboarder kids again. They're pretty funny. They stopped by and were asking me about my bike, saying, "Is that bike really fast? How long have you had it?" And I told them what year it was. I go, 1973, and they're like, "Wow, but it looks so new." Had another neighbor stop by and couldn't believe that this bike is as old as it is in the condition that it looks like it now. So as I always mention, my goal on these bikes is to make them look like they did the day that they rolled off the Schwinn dealer sales floor, down to the cable placement and the way it was set up by the mechanics back in 1973. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna take a round back, or actually take all the bikes and give it another quick shot. mess it up. So I went ahead and reorganized the shop to have some room for the next projects I'll be doing. Was able to stack some boxes to give myself a little bit of a work area. But this is my workspace, and definitely very excited to be able to play with these bikes and share them with all of you guys. So stay tuned for the next one. For now, the World Voyageur is complete. Thanks for watching, guys.